Welcome to Storytime, brought to you by the OWSCyCon2019, the online book event of the year.
Ouch! What? Stop! Let me sleep! Something was hitting my nose. Whatever it was, I wished it would go away. My head felt as if a gang of marauding imps had forced their way through my ears, and now were attempting to pull out my brains piece by agonizing piece. I groggily opened my eyes and tried to focus on the two orange eyes staring back at me. Meow! Meow! Cece, stop! I pushed my sandy and white feline out of my face and attempted to sit up. It was desperately hot in the room, and my body was covered in sweat. I tried to get out of bed and instantly vomited on the floor. Cece, no, don't eat that! Oh, what the hell! I stumbled across the room, gingerly tiptoeing around the mess on the floor, and went to the kitchen sink. I ran the water. Water. There was still water. Wasn't there not supposed to be? But my fuzzy brain couldn't work out what there wasn't supposed to be. I grabbed a cup from the pile of dirty dishes in the sink, filled it from the tap, and gulped it down. That's better. Well, not really, but it was a start. I opened the refrigerator, and out rolled a watermelon onto my foot. Ouch! Son of a... The fridge had nothing in it but watermelons, and I had no memory of how they got there. I looked for milk, cheese, bread, anything. Nothing, nada, zilch, zippo. Nothing but watermelons. Oh, and vodka. I didn't want watermelon or vodka. Definitely not vodka. There was a crash from the other room. Cece had knocked over an empty vodka bottle, one of the half a dozen dotted around the room like some chaotic abstract painting. I grabbed a dustbin and brush and slowly began to clean up the mess. Shit, why is it so goddamn hot? Cece watched me the whole time, supervising my work. She was a hard taskmaster, that cat. As soon as I was done cleaning the mess, she came over and started nudging me with her nose. Hungry, eh? You and me both. Don't suppose you eat watermelon? I opened the closet in the kitchen, located the bag of dry cat food, and dumped some into a bowl from the sink. At least there was still cat food in the house, mainly because, despite being hungry, we were never that hungry. Not that it was much of a house. Just one room with a small kitchen attached, which opened onto a courtyard. Out in the courtyard were two smaller rooms, a bathroom with just a sink, and a shower with no shower curtain so that the water ran all the way out into the courtyard, and an outhouse with an old rusty toilet with a pull chain. It was one of the few holdouts in this rapidly gentrifying area of Knocklaut in the center of Jerusalem. Rent control, dirt cheap, landlord desperately wanted me out of here, especially as I'd stopped paying the rent months ago. There didn't seem to be any point, what with the end of the world and all, except that was yesterday, and the world was still here, and all I was left with was an opinionated kitty, watermelons, and vodka. Oh, and Sasha. There were 2 mattresses on the floor of our room, plus a packing case that served as a table, an old, scratched-up wooden closet, and a bookshelf we managed to salvage from the rubbish one day. From one end of the mattresses came a loud, deep snoring worthy of a Neanderthal. Despite the heat, Sasha had the cover over his head to block out the light. I knew it was pointless trying to wake him. He had probably drunk even more vodka than me last night. Strange, really, when you think that he'd been arguing for months that all the end-of-the-world stuff was actually a bunch of crap. I heard him muttering to himself in his sleep. Yet, yet. I let Cece out into the courtyard and went to the loo. We've been out of toilet paper for weeks now. We've been using torn-up pieces of newspaper. Funny how the papers kept going even when the rest of the world was going to hell. Even the toilet seat was boiling hot that day. As I sat there, I gazed at the headlines of last Friday's Jerusalem Post. Less than a week to go. All around the world, people had been panicking, I knew. The scientists believed it was real this time. It really was the end of the world. But not here in Jerusalem. Here in Jerusalem, the majority of people believed they were safe, that God would somehow spare Jerusalem. So for the last few months, people from all over the globe had been flooding into Jerusalem, filling every corner of the city. They set up tents in the parks and parking lots. Some people were even living in the bus stops and on street corners. Many rich Americans gave their life savings away so that they could come here and beg on the streets. Jerusalem, despite its small size, today had the highest density of population of any city on earth, and we hated them. As long-time Jerusalem residents, the secular holdouts from the time of Mayor Teddy Kollek so many years before, we considered fleeing to Tel Aviv, Israel's party city, but why should we be forced to leave just because the world was going to end? Maybe, or maybe not. God, I needed some tea. I came back inside and went back into the kitchen. I glanced over at Sasha. A few strands of long brown hair poked out from under the cover. Apart from that, he was still deep in slumber, snoring like a freight car. I envied his ability to sleep through anything. Ha! He could even sleep through the end of the world! I've never been that way. A cricket could chirp once at the other end of the courtyard and I'd be awake. I boiled the water on the stove in the old rusty green kettle. At least we still had gas. That was something, I suppose. I searched for some tea bags and found a few OWSCyCon Yellow Label. No sugar, though. Sasha wouldn't like that when he finally got up. Me, I didn't care. I just needed some caffeine for this hangover headache. The hangover after the end of the world! I smiled. It was probably pretty universal today.
This story time was read by Phoebe Darqueling and brought to you in conjunction with the OWSCyCon 2019. OWSCyCon runs from May 17th through May 19th. You can find us at OWSCyCon.OurRightSide.com. Again, OWSCyCon.OurRightSide.com. We have events happening across all genres. If you are a reader, you cannot afford to miss this event. You never know. You may just find your next best read.